breathing brightly at the neutron star. We share the field, scooping jack cones, leaping to the edges of the night. Oh, I was alone, out in the dark, and I saw hollow squares all around. Oh, I was alone, out in the dark. Heaven was all around. Oh,
sea calls, a chant from the stars to come live in the core. We'll jump together, my friends. Every flash of light's another hand to carry the weight. Jump on board into those cars. Oh, we're the wandering souls. We'll come and lend a hand for the distant world. Or take a blast or two, cause in those pristine rings there's a fortune for you. Work together, my friends, as the mother lode cracks, this might come to an end. Jump on board into those chords. Oh, we're the wandering souls. Come and lend a hand for the distant world. Laughter's fire and jump drives count. A voice can't feel, there's a chatter about. The target's set and the work's in your hands. Come and build a hope in the distant lands. Search those systems till there's nothing to find. Leave the trouble in the butthole way behind. This is your chance as the future unfolds. Come and lend a hand on the distant world.
Hello Commanders, the next track is Evasion, a track from the Lave Revolution audio album and used as part of the soundtrack for the Lave Revolution audio drama, the official fiction accompanying Elite Dangerous. If you'd like to listen to more of my work, you can find it on SoundCloud at Alan-Stroud-1. Enjoy and fly safe.
Commander Kumar the Far here, and you're listening to Lave Radio. Up next is a track that I wrote based on a true story. It's called Pirates Took My Spaceship. Now, if you want to listen to more stuff that I've written, you can find that at soundcloud.com/KUMARTHEFFAR-1. Oh crap, the back!
Galnet News Digest, 21st of October 3307. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, Theta 7 in hiding as Parisa burns.
Orion University plans Dredger take-back.
Joker's deck seeks stolen playing card.
Jupiter's wrath crushed. The NMLA intends to wipe out the Duval bloodline, according to a propaganda broadcast on Friday. But Theta 7 is notable by his absence. It appears that the attack on Dyson City was triggered by the announcement that Hadrian Duval and his wife, Lady Astrid Minerva Duval, are expecting a baby in December. This baby has some claim to become a future emperor. And with neither Emperor Arissa nor Princess Aisling producing any offspring, Hadrian's baby seems like a likely candidate for future autocracy. Quite why the NMLA chose to target Hadrian when the Emperor is still alive is not clear. What is notable, however, is that the leader of the Theta NMLA cell, the cell actively engaged in bomb-making for the first time, did not make the broadcast. Praetor Leo Magnus, who speaks for both Nova Imperium Security and the affiliated counter-terrorism unit, said he believed that the Theta group has been split into two, although he didn't say whether this is a result of an internal rift. According to Magnus, Theta 7 and his close followers have gone into hiding, while the other half of the Theta group is still actively planning bombing campaigns. Help is still needed to evacuate the injured and trapped from Dyson City and Parisa.
Orion University is sending a megaship to take possession of the Scrivener's clan dredger and intends to repatriate the current occupants, raising the intriguing possibility that we may find out the secrets of the knowledge core. The dredger has been on a voyage of discovery and self-sustainability for more than 200 years, during which time the descendants of the original scholars have been adding to their computerized store of information. Orion University only recently discovered that it owns the dredger, which is currently in UCHOST PC-C C29-0, thus prompting its plan to seize the ship. The current members of the crew, the so-called Scrivener's clan, have grown up knowing no other home, so it's unclear where Orion University plans to resettle them. Once the university has the knowledge core, many are hopeful that many of the missing details from the history of the past 2 centuries may become public knowledge.
Undercover reporter Francesca Wolf of the Warglass Detective Agency, who's been investigating the secretive Joker's Deck Gambling Club, and who last week reported on the theft of the club's ceremonial playing card, has been tasked with finding the card by the people she was snooping on. In her latest undercover report, Wolf reported that she'd been caught by the club's security team, but that instead of the summary execution she expected, she was instead treated to a short lecture on the honour code of the Joker's deck and about how everything they do is legal, even though it's secret. And the current host, Lexi October, then commissioned Wolf to track down and retrieve the ceremonial playing card from the Winking Cat. Just how Warglass can find this most elusive and playful of thieves, when the Winking Cat has penetrated the most secure vaults of the Alliance, Empire and Federation without being detected, let alone caught, is a mystery. The agency is likely to need the assistance of eyes and ears around the galaxy to pull off this trickiest of assignments.
The Federal Intelligence Agency says it's foiled a plot by terrorists to impose a corporatist government in the Federation. FIA Deputy Director Bethany Blake says that following last week's raid in which more than 1,000 armed activists were arrested, the ringleaders of the plot have now also been detained. Called Jupiter's Wrath, the would-be terrorists were allegedly planning to carry out Jupiter Rochester's plan of replacing federal democracy with corporate rule. Blake says that the arrests were made possible by the Proactive Detection Bureau, the controversial organisation that's permitted to intercept all forms of communication within the Federation and to arrest suspects before they have the opportunity to commit a crime. She says that the PDB is updating its algorithms to also identify citizens who may be at risk of radicalisation by Jupiter's Wrath and other movements. The advance of digital surveillance has caused concern in Congress. Congressman Bai Zheng said he was worried that the PDB has started targeting anyone who has a different opinion from the Republican government. Despite these concerns, the FIA says it's proud that there have been no acts of domestic terrorism since it was established at the beginning of April, other than the Jupiter Division's unsuccessful coup attempt in their Shoutouts system in June.
And that's this week's Galnet News.
Galnet News, we read the news, so you don't have to.
Hello, Commanders. My name is PA Groove/Blurred Vision. You are listening to Arrival. If you like to listen more of my work, please visit soundcloud.com/p-a-groove. Fly safe and enjoy the show here on Lave Radio.
struggling with paying fines? Do you lose sleep in hyperspace worrying about docking at the next space station? If the answer is yes, then you need to call Cowell & McGrath Fine Management Services.
I got scanned while in Federation space and was caught carrying slaves. It was an unexpected expense that I couldn't afford on top of my fines for damage caused whilst docking.
We can help you consolidate all your existing fines into a single large fine, payable in regular instalments at what is almost a competitive interest rate.
I called Cowell & McGrath Fine Management Services, and they helped me pay my existing fines before I got a bounty on my head. They really saved my life.
At Cowell & McGrath, we've helped thousands of pilots whose fines had spiralled out of control.
I dared not go near a police star system. Got so desperate that I'd almost resigned myself to a life of piracy. Luckily, I found Cowell & McGrath's services before I actually murdered anyone in cold blood.
No fines too big, no criminal record too damning. We're here to help you, no questions asked. Find us in the Lave business directory.
I'd got into debt as a result of a massive counter lawsuit by Watt and Prittney. It happened because I'd taken advice on Python protection insurance from... Wait a minute! It was you!
Cowell & McGrath. Minimum liability, zero accountability. Warning, balances may go up as well as down. Missed payments may lead to repossession of your ship, seizure of cargo, or the issuing of a death warrant.
The Lave Radio Project was our last best hope for news. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long, located in neutral territory. A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads, community members and developers. A shining beacon in space, all alone on a Tuesday night. It was the dawn of the 3rd chapter of Elite. The year's space legs came upon us all. This is the story of the last of the Lavian stations. The year is 3307. The name of the place? Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 363 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Fire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, otherwise known as Colin Ford, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psykit.
How do?
How do? We have our Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
And we have our SRV Rally Specialist for this evening, as Ben is away. That will be Commander Alec Turner.
Evening all.
Evening. Glad to have you all along. Now, if you wish, you can join us live. I do believe the Chris Mark IV is flying about somewhere. Not quite so sure where. But we'll catch up with him.
I'm on the ground in HIP 20524 system at Lave Radio Broadcasting House, and I am in an SRV since we have an SRV expert on the program.
Or I could give you some tips, maybe.
Yeah. So that's where the Chris Mark IV is. But if you cannot join us in game, then you can find us on our Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, or just go straight to Twitch TV/Lave Radio, or YouTube, because we're streaming live on YouTube, and on Facebook, which is always fun. Facebook, yes. Right, going round the crew, we'll catch up with everybody and see what they've been up to this week. So we'll start with Commander Psykit. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm good. What have I been up to this week?
I don't know. That's why I was asking.
I know. The mind has suddenly gone blank. It's like you've put me on the spot with being able to tell you what is going on in my life. I have new glasses, so I'm no longer squinting at the television while I'm sat on the sofa, which is lovely. I have less headaches now.
Well, that's useful.
But other than that, not a lot. I've been doing. I did a little bit in game. I got a little bit frustrated with the game with Elite on the Friday. I think it was a smidge frustrated, just a smidge, because things were going wrong where they shouldn't have been going wrong. But I've also been doing. There's a new No Man's Sky expedition.
Oh yes, I've heard about this.
It's really fun, and I've completed that, and that was a lot of fun. So yeah, dabbling here and there.
Fair enough. Commander Shan, what's been up with you?
Well, before I start, I have a challenge for the show.
Oh no.
The challenge for the show is to demonstrate to the world that the source of all malarkey is Ben. Because Ben is not on the show tonight, so therefore I'm hoping we have a mature, considered and measured show with no malarkey. That's my challenge.
What about shenanigans? Are we allowed shenanigans?
Just no malarkey, okay?
Okay, shenanigans are in. We're good.
Just no malarkey. So anyway, with that in mind, did a little bit of engineer resource gathering on my third account, not Odyssey resources, planetary resources, which is okay really, because once you kind of get to know the spawns and how they appear, it's not quite as bad as you think.
Always useful.
Test subject Gamma, aka Hobbs, had a new test this week, of which the results are yet uncertain.
Oh.
And the test is the cat square test.
Well, you try and shove a cat into a square hole. In other words, his cat flap.
No. I saw this on YouTube, and I've been trying to see if it's true or not. Apparently, what you do, you get about 60 centimeters of masking tape and make a square out of it and put it on the floor. And supposedly, the cat thinks it's a box, so we'll either walk around the square because he just wants to walk around the box, or he wants to go in the box, in which case he will jump in the square and just sit there and not move out of it. So basically he thinks he's in a box and can't move out of it. And Hobbs has done both. He's walked around it as if the box was there, and then sat in it as if it was a real box. So obviously we need to do some more testing to ascertain whether or not he is subject to the cat box test.
I think I understand what's going on. Effectively, yeah.
Basically, he looks.
If you put a piece of paper down on the floor, it will have exactly the same effect.
Well, that's maybe next week's test. But apparently, they look at the shape and think, oh, there's a wall around that shape. So it's not just a flat shape on the floor, it's three-dimensional. Apparently, that's what it's supposed to work. Whether it works or not with our cat, I'm not sure yet. But the piece of paper will be the next test.
Wow. Okay. Fair enough. It's nice to know that the cat is he's passing all these tests, though, isn't he? He's
kind of, yes. I mean, I think it's because as Paul said, the make of cat is more intelligent, perhaps, than more benign makes. But we shall see. The other thing that happened to cat this week, and unfortunately, it lost its maleness on Monday.
Oh, right. Yes.
So it's kind of in recovery at the moment. I'm not sure about mental recovery, but physical recovery, and trying to stop a Bengal cat from jumping around like a demented Zebedee is quite difficult.
Yes, well, we will take a moment to to pray for the thoughts and prayers go for your poor cat's maleness, which has now been removed.
Well, we were contractually obliged to have it done before the 5th of November, you see, so it kind of had to be done. And I was quite sad about it, really, because
Because it goes off like a firework otherwise.
Well, I suppose so. But we did say no malarkey, okay? So
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, I've killed psykit already.
Point has been proven amazingly well. I'm so proud of you, Alec. Thank you.
Yes, an absolute round of applause there to Mr. Turner. And 2 points to Gryffindor. Right. Right. Yeah, on the subject of which you will have heard Mr. Alec Turner there. Normally him of driving around on planets very fast.
I was just going to wonder how you're going to get Alec from the subject of castration, but there we go.
Listen, if there's a link there, I'll
fine
find
in that
it.
regard. Thank you very much.
So, Alec, it's been a
Yes.
while since we've had you on the show.
It has.
What have you been up to?
I too have new glasses by an amazing coincidence. I'm wearing them
I was
now.
about to say, I have also had my maleness reduced.
No, thank goodness not. Oh dear.
Set psykit off, that's it. She's gone for the rest of the show.
What else? I'm waiting to see Dune, but I'm going to wait until the school holidays are over so I can go to a nice empty cinema to see it. So instead I went to see the new Miyazaki film, Studio Ghibli film, called Earwig and the Witch. Which is
that sounds nice.
Yeah, I think it's aimed at a very young audience. It's nice. It's got some nice sort of Miyazaki Studio Ghibli kind of stuff, if you like that sort of thing. But it's terribly lacking in story, and it's very young. It's very nice, but it's all right. Other than that, in game, when I've not been racing, and more on that later, I guess, I've been trying the Canon speed scanning challenge, so Canon have this standing challenge. I think it runs till the end of December, and they have a planet which has 9. You'd love this one, actually. It has 9 different biological, what would you call them? Plants on it.
Just biologicals, really. 9 different biologicals.
9 different biologicals, and you basically have to scan completely. Do the 3 scans of all 9 as fast as you can. So what I'm trying to do is find a place on the planet which has all 9 in close proximity, and it's proving incredibly difficult to do it. In particular, that even the bacteria isn't the worst. I'm fine with the bacteria, but it's the blooming osseous. It's whenever you find one, there's only one of them, literally one of them, and nothing for hundreds of kilometers. I just cannot find 2 or 3 of the damn things together.
Yeah, they can be an absolute bitch to find. Although I must admit, my favourite hatred is definitely finding grey-looking bacteria on a snow world. That's you just might as well.
Hard on snow worlds, but not so bad on this one. But yeah, I think if you probably Google it or find it on the forums, the Canon. I think it's called the Canon Speed Scanning Challenge. It's very good.
You know what? I think I will look that one up because that's the kind of thing that I'm looking forward to try. Well, to doing. But
I'll find it and I'll post a link somewhere.
Thank you very much. Right, let's see what have I been up to for the last week. Well, I've just come back from Scotland. So hello to my mum if she's listening. For some reason, she might be.
Why would you let your mum listen to this?
Well, I try and discourage her.
Well, actually, Ben's not here, and we're having a malarkey-free zone, so she might be all right to listen.
That ship has sailed already, Cher.
Yes, it has.
I'm the judge of malarkey. It's my rule, so I'm judging malarkey or not.
Ah, dear. So, yeah, malarkey and shenanigans, and yes. So let's have a think. In game, well, I've kept my main commander down to where the Orion University community goal started. I'm going to keep my commander around there because I suspect something might happen regarding that. This week I've done a little bit extra scanning with the Cullen to Colonia account, which has always been fun. I'm stuck in this one system. There's this one system which has 3 or 4 planets, all with 2 biologicals on them, but they're all about 300,000 light seconds away from each other. So getting through this system is taking a lot longer than I anticipated. But then again, it will probably be another 10 or 11 systems before I come across another biological again. So scan it while I can. And of course, after I'm just getting my new power play commander up to speed, and he's just reached the Imperial rank of Master, so he will now start flying around in an Imperial courier and starting to pirate other powers' ships. So if you do see me, and I'm always flying about in open, and I probably will be after tonight's show, feel free to take a pop if you're not at the same power. I'm flying in open all the time, so yes, you're perfectly welcome to have a go. Come and have a go at it if you think you're hard enough. So, moving on from there, let's have a quick look at what the devs have been saying this week. Well, this week we had the announcement that Update 8 will be coming on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.
Classic.
Yes. So October the 27th, we'll see the deployment of the much anticipated Update 8 for Elite Dangerous. This will also include a fix to address a known issue with capacity readings for fleet carriers, and they have posted the deployment schedule. So effectively, the servers go offline at 10 a.m. and they come back when it's ready. So, yeah. Just quickly go around the crew. Is there anything... We'll start with psykit. Is there anything in Update 8 that you are actually looking forward to?
Improvements on graphics and FPS lag, further improvements on FPS lag, please. But then also the new mission types, is that coming now or is that later?
No, the mission wrinkles where the people will run away.
Yeah, and you can go and see a lad and grab stuff from them and that.
Yes, that will be coming this update.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to going and seeing a lad, popping a little salute at them, and then also obviously creating the Spider-Man meme many times with many different people.
Oh dear, that is something to look forward to. Shan, is there anything there that you're looking forward to with Update 8?
I was just thinking that Ben must be squirming in his seat because Sai set up so much malarkey then.
I'm doing it on purpose right now.
Which I'll refuse to go into because I'm sophisticated and civilized. Anyway, quick thing about Update 8 is why not do Update 8 on Thursday so they get the server tick and the update done in one go, rather than do the update, do a reboot, and then do a server tick the next day.
So that they can do a quick shifty patch when the server tick happens. Because obviously something's going to go wrong.
Yeah,
you cynic, you.
Well, I must admit I'm with psykit on this one. There's always something that's gone a bit funny. Alec, is there anything in Update 8 that you are specifically looking forward to?
I was desperately searching the forums to find the post to remind myself what's in it. I'm looking forward to emojis. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what kind of interesting screenshots you can get by combining an emoji with, I'm not an emoji, I mean emotes, with something. Yeah. I saw a terrific screenshot recently of it looked for all the world like somebody standing underneath their SRV tinkering with it. And it was only on reflection that I realized they have a gun pointed at the sky and you can't see the gun. So it looks like they're reaching up, and brilliant screenshot. And it made me think, I wonder what we can do with the emotes and what interesting screenshots we can frame. So I'll be playing with that. And I'm quite looking forward to the new Megaship interiors, actually, just exploring those because they do look quite nice.
Yes, I am wondering how long it will be before we start getting offensive combinations, so where they're able to somehow perform perform emotes in a certain way that people go, "Oh, you horrible person for doing that."
Give it 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
5 minutes is an overestimate.
Yes.
The
Well-
CTP, in other words.
Indeed.
Yeah, we found out within 5 minutes how to do rude hand gestures in Bridge Crew. So I don't expect I have high expectations for the elite community to to create the smut. Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I think bizarrely for myself, I am looking forward to the emotes myself, just so I can wave at people when I actually meet them, instead of this taking the knee business, which just sounds very, very Game of Thrones.
Colin, just
yes?
think about what you said there.
What?
Taking the knee?
Yes?
Anyway.
Yeah, okay, fine. Obviously, I've missed some kind of cultural reference there, so I'll move along. On Thursday, there will be a development update which looks forward to update 9. Now, it's not a live stream. It's obviously going to be a list of what we've had before, where they've gone over items that they're working on. From what we understand, based on update, the previous one, we're hoping that they'll go into more detail about personal fleet carrier interiors, the new SRVs coming, and there are more mission wrinkles. Just quickly, is there anything else that you'd hope would be in there?
I guess we'll wait and see, because it might be one of those things where they slip in a few quality of life features that we haven't talked about, just to kind of surprise us. So I'll wait to see the patch notes, because I said there's usually something in there that you've been thought, oh, okay. So yeah, I don't know if I'm looking forward to a particular thing other than what surprises they can slip in.
Actually, I suppose the obvious thing that I forgot to say about Update 8 is performance, as always. You know, is this going? There is supposed to be something quite significant performance in Update 8, isn't there?
Yeah, they did hint at that very, very at the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
They said, yeah, you're going to find some significant improvements. Well, there are a couple of things that they said, but they haven't talked about that since then. So yeah,
we shall see. I'm not holding my breath, but we shall see.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it would be nice. It would be nice for stuff to suddenly jump by 10 or 15 frames. I'll tell you that.
I thought update 9 was supposed to be the performance one. I don't know. It's always the next update is the performance one, but
well,
I kind of thought update 8 was the lesser one.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I was under the impression that performance is something that they're always going to be working on until they've got it up to a level where they can run it on, say, console equivalent hardware. But the problem that I've got is that, well, that's not a problem, is that I was under the impression that Update 8 was going to be a significant step towards that. And I hate to say it, so does a lot of people in the forums. They're already,
my understanding.
Yeah, you've got a lot of people referring to it as the Jesus patch, in quotes. So, you've got people thinking, oh God, here we go. They're building up to say this will be the patch that will fix everything in their head. And if it doesn't, then we'll have the usual wailing and gnashing of teeth on the forums.
Yeah, it sounds to me, a little bit like Elon Musk and his autonomous driving software. It's always going to be another patch. So I think it'll improve people for some, and it'll make it worse for others, is the experience previously. So I would suggest you lower your expectations and see how it runs on your system.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, considering that at the moment, I think my system is borderline just underneath what was supposed to be for the alpha, yet, acceptable hardware for the alpha, yet it seems that it feels more like minimum spec. I'm hoping that we get something a little bit more than that. I mean, for goodness sake, I've got everything in low res just to keep the frame rate up.
I really don't think it's a lot of it is based on your hardware that you have, because I see people with much lesser spec systems than, say, for example, mine getting better performance than me, and I've got everything turned down as well. It just the way things are happening, and I'm no techie person, but I get a lot of people saying it has to be netcode and things along those lines, and that isn't going to be something that your system can sort out, I believe. I don't know. I'm quoting other humans that know much better than I do, but I don't. Just from my experience, having such a relatively high-end PC as I do, it should perform an awful lot better. And I just see the same performance issues or people performing better with lower end PCs. So it makes no sense for it to be a PC thing.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I have had occasions where I'm running not in solo, but I'm running in a system where there aren't any other players, and it's running at between 30 and 45 frames a second. As soon as another commander turns up in the same instance as me, the frame rate will drop. And that can get frustrating, especially if you're flying around Lave and you're sort of there thinking, oh, this will be fine, and then all of a sudden the frame rate then drops to a slideshow, and then you know that 2 or 3 people have turned up.
It's loading in, like when you're loading in the really more complex settlements and things along those lines. Those are the things that are causing my system to chug a lot more than I would expect it to, especially with everything turned down as low as I have it.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I just want my clipper to come down from 100 meters in the sky, because that is just absolutely doing my head in. It's just sort of driving about on a planet, and then I'd fly back to my clipper, and it's 100 meters up in the air, and trying to line up with the SRV port is an absolute nightmare. I mean, there's been a lot. You just have to look at my Twitch streams to say, right, sod this, bear with me. I've got to flip to original elite just to get up into orbit with my SRV, and then go back down to the planet again, which is quite frustrating. So just please, I want my ship on the ground.
That seems a lot to ask.
Yeah. Well, also on Thursday's evening, it's got a Halloween stream with prizes to be won. Now, this time last year, wasn't this the start of the Azimuth story?
It was, yeah.
It was.
The servers went live.
Yeah.
The servers went live 2 hours later than they were supposed to. I remember vividly, because I had to fill for 2 hours, which was great. But yeah, it was this time. I think it was this time last year.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that this is. I mean, it took 2 or 3 days to actually find the Azimuth, didn't it? It wasn't a quick win.
No, they said, here's where the ghost ship is. Go and take a look at it. And then there was pointing us to other things in the galaxy that took a little bit of looking for, if memory serves.
Yeah, I remember it being a little bit more challenging than the 4-hour one that people found things within 4 hours last week.
Do we know what prizes there are? I mean, obviously,
yeah. There's a Thrustmaster, HOTAS. At least one of those is also a HyperX headset. For a screenshot competition. I think the HOTAS is for Halloween pumpkin carving.
Ooh. Right. You got to Halloween an elite Halloween pumpkin carving and then post it in.
Does the said pumpkin need to have an elite theme, or can it be any pumpkin?
We'd love to see your elite themed pumpkin carvings to really get in the Halloween spirit. Send over a photo of your pumpkins with your commander name. And then all entries will get a random Halloween decal.
Oh, lovely.
The top 3 receive a pumpkin decal and an in-game Haymaker bobblehead. And the best pumpkin will win a Thrustmaster HOTAS, which there will be more details of on Thursday. There is also a screenshot competition. The vastness of Space houses many haunting visuals, and we want you to capture them. Send in your spookiest Elite Dangerous screenshots by posting them in the thread below or tweeting them with the hashtag Stellar Screamshots. I like it. And then that's to the top 10 will receive a random Halloween themed decal and screenshot shown on stream. And the best screenshot will receive a Razer V2 Blackshot headset and an in-game Haymaker bobblehead.
So does it actually need to be a carving in the pumpkin? Because what the idea I had as you were saying it is you get the pumpkin and then you could colour like black marker.
I'll say this one more time. We'd love to see your Elite Dangerous themed pumpkin carvings to really get in the Halloween spirit.
Yeah, but you're not giving me time to finish. So what you could do is get pumpkin, colour like a black rectangle on the pumpkin, poke a couple of poke a couple of eye holes in it, and then put a cowboy hat on it, and then it's one of those skins they keep selling.
It needs a scarf.
Yeah, a scarf pumpkin head. I wonder if that will be the new skins that will come out this week. Pumpkin heads. Anyway, right. Moving on from there, before we have a bit of a discussion about the very important rules of carving pumpkins. I'm sorry, I'm just getting interrupted by Chrome at the moment for some reason. I'm getting tons of notifications, which is deafening me. The in-game results, or the in-game events. Now, what has been happening this week? Well, last Wednesday, on the 20th of October, federal agents announced that they have used the controversial surveillance system to crush Jupiter Division extremists. For those of you who remember that there was an individual who wanted to replace the federal government with a corporate state. Well, they've managed to crush them, which they're now saying is a success for this so-called controversial surveillance technique. However, it did seem a bit weird that they said they were also able to target people who just kind of thought it was a good idea. That's a little bit sort of thought police, isn't it? No, just me? Okay, fair enough. On Thursday, the Torval Mining Limited requests resources to build megaships. Yes, this is the community goal. So Torval Mining wants to build megaships. If you want to, please send bits that direction. And then other things started to become interesting as the space dredger Scrivener's clan resists the Orion's University's megaship as it attempts to retrieve the space dredger. It does seem that this might have the potential for a little bit of conflict later on. On Monday, the senators...
So,
what?
This Scrivener's clan resists the Orion University. So are the Scriveners then,
yes,
like students doing a sit-in on the Students' Union against the university? So are they like dodgy students? Do you reckon?
Are you just hoping that they will be, Sham?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun if they were just sort of drunk members of a student union that were just doing a sit-in on the megaship, despite the university, because I don't know, maybe they didn't get free halls of accommodation or something like that.
Yeah. Or basically, there's a protest about fees.
Something like that, yeah.
I think we'll move on from there before it gets even weirder. Yeah, so that's the main reason why my main commander is hanging around near near where the space dredger is, because I suspect something interesting might be happening around there. So I want to be on scene to report for Lave Radio as soon as possible. Right, moving on from there. After the recent assassination attempt to kill Hadrian Duval and his family, senators have offered protection to the. Well, he's not the ex-Prince Harold's grandson. It's a rather complicated thing, but he is part of the royal family, but he is going to have to give up any connection to Nova Imperium if he does agree to protection. And of course, today the Alliance and the Molinists continue to address the refugee crisis, which has happened thanks to the NMLA. So that is going to be, well, the news, and probably at the end of this episode, we'll have the Galnet news by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude, who will go into this with far much more detail. Right.
Colin, sorry, before you go to the next one. With the Hadrian Duval entry, is it just me who wishes the H in Hadrian Duval was silent?
Adrian Duval.
Because Hadrian just seems such a strange name nowadays.
Well, maybe he might build a wall.
What, and make the Federation pay for it?
Yeah. Anyway, I think. Do you feel that the plot's building towards something at the moment, or is it plateauing?
I'll be disappointed if it's just a combat CG on Thursday. Like all signs are pointing to it being a combat CG on Thursday. Let's be honest.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'll admit.
Given, I mean, we're victims of our own expectations again, aren't we? And I've talked about this a fair amount, but because last year was so friggin' cool, and we've had lots of cool stuff. It feels. I would feel really let down if it was just, and I know they're bringing up out update 8, and I know there's a lot of stuff going on, and I get it, but I want something fancy to happen.
What would you want?
I don't know, like some kind of added, like maybe another station discovered, or something that furthers the plot with regard to maybe, let's say, D2 or the Witch. The Witch! It's the perfect time!
For the Witch, yes.
It is, isn't it?
Her. What about then, thinking of ideas for it? You know how a year or so ago we had the Gnosis being surrounded by Thargoids?
Well, that was a couple of years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah. So why not then, if you are aboard this megaship or the space dredger, if you are aboard, it is then besieged by Orion University ships, and you then have the CG under siege on the megaship. Would that be cool enough for you, Si, or is that just do you think?
I mean, that's just a placeholder for me. I want my personal feeling. If they called something the Witch, we're now in Halloween. When they called me the Witch, well, everyone called me. But when they called her the Witch, I was like, okay, so we've got something to look forward to at Halloween then, because it just makes sense. Why would they call a character the Witch and then bring out information about her at Christmas? It just feels narratively, it feels really nice and cozy, and I like Halloween, and I want some recognition of it.
Could the Witch to do the Witch head? Maybe then.
Could be.
Who knows?
Yes. Listen in the chat room. Something wicked this way comes. By Commander Wintermute GB. I must admit, I'm hoping it myself that it'll be more like a treasure hunt with maybe some combat involved as well, because that would be nice. But yeah, like I said, my main character is just hanging around that area to see what happens. Because yeah, it'll be interesting to get first drop on it.
If they really wanted to, sorry, Colin, you got me thinking. If they really wanted to do a treasure hunt, do you remember when the game first came out? They gave away graphics cards, like a graphics card
Yes.
to do that. If they're giving away prizes and stuff, then they could give away, I don't know, a 3090 or something for the first person to solve a particular riddle and post it up on the forum or something like that. That would set quite a lot of people searching, I think, if they gave away a real prize.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes you get accusations of, there's no point doing that, Cannon will just win.
Or will they?
Yeah, I know, but it can. Yeah. Anyway, so we're looking forward to Thursday. Obviously, we're looking forward to Wednesday, but it'll probably be Thursday by the chance we really get our teeth into it anyway. So yes, and it does seem that the Hutton Orbital Truckers and Loose Screws and Guard Frequency will all get first dibs and first reactions to it. But here at Lave Radio, we'll take our time and give it a full week of usual high quality analysis before we're able to.
Well, by that time it'll be
update 8.
Yeah. But by that time it'll be stable then, won't it? And we will be able to present it malarkey free.
Yes, because we'll be malarkey-less again next week due to the half term being a lot longer than we were expecting. Yes,
perhaps,
Ben, we do miss you, honest.
Perhaps pop-up guest number 2 will be less malarkey.
No, we kind of need that. Right. On to that time of the week again. Oh. I think our tech people are going to sleep.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your arts. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your arts. A store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert, a store alert. Each one will you buy? A store alert, 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 a store alert. Each one will you buy?
Thanks and welcome back. I just realised I forgot something, but we'll come back to that at a later point. Well, this week's store alerts, well, there wasn't one. They are still discussing newsletter 329 came out instead of the store alert, which covered Alchemy Den's 24-hour charity stream, the usual Commander creations. There was the Typesick Overdrive paint job, which we discussed before, and of course the usual discussion of the CQC night, the community highlights, etc., etc., and of course a catch up of the Azimuth saga. I think when you actually look over the newsletter, it moving to once every 2 weeks, I think it's actually improved a little. But
yeah,
I guess
I think I agree.
Yeah,
it was stretching before, and I think they've got just enough things to put in on a fortnightly basis at the moment.
Yeah.
Talking about things on a fortnightly basis, have we had any entries yet into the worst combination of paint jobs and chips yet?
We have not. So yes, again, we'd like to put a call to everybody that if you have a combination of the most horrible paint job and the most horrible, the most horrible paint job and the most horrible ship, Cobra Mark 4s included, we would like to see them. Specifically, Shan, so he could point at you and laugh.
No. I might congratulate them on their inventiveness. You don't know.
Yeah. It's an interesting little aside. I hope we do get some absolutely horrendous, ugly ships coming through soon.
Also, are we going to find out what the thing you forgot was, or is it something we can leave the audience to speculate on as well?
Actually, I'm passing it over to Commander Ventura now, and wondering whether or not he can upload and play it.
Well, there's suspense for you.
While we wait, in the chat, guess what Colin forgot?
Oh, I know what it is. I now know what it is. I was expecting it and it didn't happen. Now I remember.
Yes, this is one of the reasons why, because I was up in Scotland, it was one of the things that I forgot to do before sending out.
It's all right. It can wait another week. It's not a problem.
Oh. Have you got it, Commander Ventura?
He's saying not in chat.
No, haven't got it yet.
So we've got another week of speculation that we can...
Oh. That's a shame. Right, okay, well, enough of this dead air. I think what we'll do is we will take a short ad break, and then we'll come back and discuss with Commander Alec Turner new ways to use an SRV that we never thought we'd be able to use before.
Yay! Eddie Lee Wise here. Our family-run business looks after all your sartorial needs. Whether you need something to turn your pink python purple, or you want to wrap your buns up in a nice tight flight suit, my husband Ken can sort you right out. He's an expert at inside leg, and my wife Barbs is a whiz with a sewing machine. Bespoke tarting for you and your ship. Visit Eddie and Sons, plus me daughters, at Lave Station. Right, sir. Cough, please.
Is your life like this? It could be like this.
Astrogator Tours. Put some excitement back in your life. Book an adventure in the Lave Business Directory. Now.
Natural remedies have always been some of the galaxy's finest, so when we discovered a wholly natural way of slimming down and reducing your appetite, we had to share it with everyone. Harnessing the amazing powers of our native parasitic life, we've solved an age-old problem. Vegas Slimweed has been used by settlers of the region for decades with undeniable results and significant health benefits. If you think that Vegas Slimweed could be the solution you're looking for, speak to your doctor today. Travelling with Vegas Slimweed ingested may constitute smuggling. Please check before your journey and declare yourself at customs for an internal search. Failure to digest does not constitute grounds for reimbursement. Side effects may include, but are not limited to, increased blood pressure and heart rate, insomnia, nervousness, blurred vision, restlessness or headache. Some forms of parasite may cause stomach side effects like constipation, dry mouth, nausea or vomiting. A small sample of patients exhibit full body paralysis, catatonic states and internal hemorrhaging. Parasite must be purged before pupation, else death will occur.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art.
There you go, Shan. You requested a dubstep version of that song.
Awesome.
Excellent.
We have to thank, of course, JN Tracks for actually remixing his own song as soon as Shan said he wanted a dubstep version. And I quote, he thought, oh, it'll be absolutely awful. And when he finished, he was saying, this is absolutely great. I wish I'd done it before.
Excellent. See, I think it should be played at double the current volume, though.
Okay, there's a community response. We want to know which Store Alert song you prefer. Do you prefer the original or the remix? We're going to have to set a poll up for that one, aren't we?
Or maybe we should ask for an operatic version.
An operatic version.
Let's have a new one every week.
A full-on go compare version. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, okay, compare. Yeah.
I think we should try and get Bill Bailey to do a metal version.
Like a fully orchestral remix. A full orchestral remix of the Store Alert theme.
Oh, JN Tracks, as much as
Do it, Game Tracks, do it.
Chris Mark IV got it though.
I think give the guy a break. he just did that on the off chance, and now you're making massive requests now for a full orchestra version.
Well, Chris Mark IV has got the Show Tunes Jazz Hand Spectacular. I mean,
yeah, or even better, the freeform jazz version. Anybody want to do that? Nice. Right, moving on. Well, one of the reasons we have Commander Alec Turner with us is because you have come up with a brand new way to do SRV races. Would you like to give us a quick overview?
I would, kind of. It's not me. I've been merely partaking. I don't know if Chris has the video that I posted earlier in the day and wants to just play that while I chat and talk about what we're doing. I don't know if that's possible. But anyway, I have been taking part in a new series of races that have been hosted by the Elite Racers. I hasten to stress nothing to do with the Buckyball Racing Club whatsoever.
Not to be mixed up with. I have made that mistake so many times, and I do apologise.
Nothing whatsoever. No, this is the Elite Racers, and it's a series of races called the Scarab Community Cup. So it's SRV racing in Horizons.
Lovely.
And one of the nice ideas of the race is that rather than one person, so the previous series were sort of all devised and hosted by Black Maze, and that sort of meant, although he loved doing the coverage of them, he never really got to race. So in this one, each racer they miss one race. Basically, each racer has created one of the races, so we all take it in turns to create a race, and so everybody gets to race. There's a dozen of us, more or less, and so you get to take part in 11 races, and you curate one of them. And that's been really interesting because it means we've had an awful lot of variety in the different types of racing. So, this one theme we've had is things like only allowing one pip in engines. So it sort of cuts out all this fliving nonsense that a lot of people don't approve of. So you're very definitely on the ground with sort of boost just to get over rocks, and then you run out and have to wait for it to refill again. So that sort of thing. But 2 weeks ago, when I was originally going to come on, and what sort of I thought was really exciting was one of the guys did an orienteering race. Okay. So to sort of backtrack a bit, one thing we've been using is a utility called SRV Tracker, which has been developed by one of the guys, Crank Larson, and he's been constantly working on it. So basically, it takes what Elite Dangerous writes to a log file. It's called status.json, and it's got sort of live updates of all sorts of information from the game. So when you're driving around in a Scarab, or indeed flying a ship, I have to say, it has things like your direction, your speed, the amount of damage, whether you've refueled, all sorts of stuff. So what the SRV tracker does is it does a couple of things. First of all, it lets you create a route consisting of waypoints. So waypoints are just coordinates, really. And when you're running the game, there's an overlay. In fact, if people can see on the screen at the moment, the sort of darker window in the top left-hand corner.
Yeah.
It's a small, so that window can be pinned to always stay on top. So what you do is you run the game in windowed mode, and that window is always on top. So you can decide where you want to put it. You can minimize it so it's just the arrow and the heading, or you can, so just the black bit, or you can have this sort of larger view. And basically what that will do is point you towards the next waypoint. So it gives you a heading. The arrow literally points you towards it. It gives you things it tells you what the target is. So each waypoint can have a name. It tells you things like your speed. It can also tell you tips. So if you're following a route, then underneath where it says target waypoint 2, it can sort of say, and then a U-turn to waypoint 3, or then a sharp left-hander. So you've got constant tips about heading there. Yeah, sorry, Shan's got a question there.
Go on.
Right, so basically the image or the window in the top left on the screen is a Google Maps for SRVs.
Yeah, pretty much.
So does it have a voice feature, or do you need to look at the top screen?
It's a good question. Crank is constantly taking suggestions for new development work. So I mean, it works he's got a VR overlay now, which is pretty impressive bit of work. So you can also have it in VR. I don't think there is audio at the moment. Well, voice. There are audio cues, so you can have audio cues for things like when you hit a waypoint, which is quite useful, or when you hit the finish line, things like that. So just to sort of pick up on this a little bit, so the way the orienteering race worked, for example, is that the creator had picked a planet with interesting terrain, lots of ravines and mountains and things to go around, and he basically created, I think it was 10 waypoints. So there was a definite start waypoint and a definite finish waypoint, and then 8 other waypoints scattered across the terrain in between. And what he did is released. So that series of waypoints can be saved as a file. But he basically released that file 15 minutes before the race was due to start, along with screenshots. Gotcha. So we then all had to sort of frantically pick a route. It's not quite the traveling salesman problem, because it's not just a question of finding the shortest route, but some of the sort of routes, from A to B might be straight off the edge of a ravine. So do you take a longer route but stay high and then drop down into the ravine and do the low ones? Or it was really exciting, really interesting stuff. And I thought, a completely original way of doing racing, actually. So I think the orienteering I could well imagine that taking off. It's enormous fun.
So,
and then,
go on, Shan, it's your question.
I was going to ask, so let's say you arrive at waypoint 1.
Mm-hmm.
Does it automatically switch to waypoint 2, or do you need to...
Yeah, so as long as you hit it. So one of the things you can do, I'm trying to remember if it's on, you can't quite see it on this particular screen, but each waypoint can be one of 3 different things. It can either just be a point, in which case you can specify a radius around it. So the way you create waypoints is really easy. You literally just drive or land at the spot you want to be a waypoint, and then you just hit a button that says add next waypoint, and it just creates the waypoint as where you are. So it's really easy to create these. And then each waypoint you can say is either a point and you specify a radius. So you might say, you've got to get within 100 meters of that point.
Right.
Or it can be a line. So in this case, you can see waypoint 2, the one that's highlighted on screen, is a line. So you have 2 markers, gate marker 1 and gate marker 2, and it's a line you have to cross. Or you can create a more sort of elaborate polygon. I'm not quite sure what you'd use that for, but maybe you want to insist that somebody lands in a crater, and you could draw the outline of the crater.
So conceivably, you could then do planetary Etch-a-Sketch with this.
Yeah.
By putting waypoints in and draw shapes on the planet's surface by following the waypoints.
Absolutely. Well, that's the other interesting bit, and there is a video, but maybe we'll post it later or something. But so
I
the other
wonder
bit of
which
software.
shape these people will come up with. I
Yes,
really
surprise. So the other neat bit of software which we're not seeing here is on the server end. So when a race is running, so each driver is running this bit of software, the SRV tracker. Can we see it on screen? The window in the bottom left, you can see there's an option to upload
Yes,
in the
that's
middle of
it.
that.
Yeah.
So if you tick that, it uploads your SRV's current position and heading and stuff like that to a central server.
Gotcha.
Which the race organizer runs. And that then allows us to have a live updated map where you can see little. Actually, that's going through a lot of development work now. So literally little icons of SRVs moving around the map. So you can see.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is, and so it tracks things like who's completed which waypoint. You can set up routes to be multi-lap routes. So the one we did on Saturday was 10 laps around a settlement. So it can track how many laps each person's done. You can literally see these little SRVs moving around in sort of real time as you're racing.
So it kind of looks like the Type 9 racing that as Scorbus does, so that you can actually see where your SRVs are on the course.
Yeah, what's proving quite tricky. I mean, we've sort of done it after the fact by creating videos of it, but what's proving quite tricky to do is to get a decent screenshot that sort of matches the coordinates of the route, if you see what I mean. The coordinates of the route are a very flat. Oh, here we go. I think we're running a video now, perhaps. It didn't quite work by the looks of it.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to match the coordinates to a screenshot and put a sort of nice background on it.
Okay, Shan, you got another question?
Well, a couple of things really. First of all, does it work when on foot? Because presumably you could map a base out using it.
It's a really interesting question. When I was recording a video earlier today, I didn't manage to finish this one, but I had a little example of flying in a ship and then getting out and continuing my route in the SRV. And I did at that point think, I wonder if it works. I can't even remember. I think it works in Odyssey. We're fairly deliberately doing this race series in Horizons for reasons.
And my next question is,
there we go. Let's play.
Racetracks and stuff, great idea. But one of the things I know people have issues and trouble with is doing the Guardian puzzle on Guardian Ruins.
Oh yeah, you could absolutely map out Guardian Ruins. You could put a waypoint with a very small radius around each each of the pylons.
Looks amazing.
So obviously what you're seeing on screen is very much speeded up. I mean, this was the race on Saturday. This was 10 laps and it took about 35 minutes, I think. So we're speeding this up a lot to play back. But you can see on the left, it's tracking the leader and which lap they're on.
It just needs a Murray Walker, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, that is all it needs. It needs a commentary team. We need a Murray Walker and a James Hunt.
The little spinning effect that you'll see on the SRVs occasionally. I'm not sure if that's deliberate or a bug. It's highly amusing, but it's kind of when it loses the direction that your SRV's in because you've had a collision.
I just assumed that it was just you guys being absolutely amazing and awesome. Just like showboating and
I'm afraid not. Every time you see a little spin, it's usually a collision.
That's so cool.
But this is probably the coolest utility I've seen in years. Pretty dangerous.
It is brilliant.
Really.
You can also see here, actually, on the screen, you can see the circles. So the point in the circle, those are the waypoints and the radius around them.
I mean, we could set up our own kind of Grand Prix for this, couldn't we?
Yeah. So I mean, and like I said, it works in ships as well. You can give waypoints altitudes, I believe. I mean, obviously the only thing that's really missing here, it's fine on the ground. Obviously, in a race like this around a settlement, you almost don't need to run the tracker because you've learnt the course, and the corners that we're going around are things like lampposts or
Yeah.
So you almost don't need it. For the orienteering, you absolutely need it because there was nothing really visible other than following the arrow and getting an audio cue when you hit the waypoint. So you could lay out a ship racing course. The only thing is that your sort of gate is invisible, if you know what I mean. So you're entirely reliant on the tracker to sort of guide you towards where the gate is. And the only slight problem I haven't tried it a lot with ships, but I can't remember what the update speed is for this status JSON file, but it's not quite as fast as you would like. So there's a bit of lag in the tracker. It's not bad.
Right.
It's not bad, but it's fine for SRV racing. But you could easily shoot straight past a gate doing 500 meters a second in a Mamba or something, and then you'd have to kind of backtrack and fly very slowly to try and find the gate, unless you made the gate big enough, I guess.
But could you, like, for example, would all of the gates have to be in the same system, or could you
That's
put
a good
them?
question. I think they do. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a really good question. I don't know. Part of the route when you create a route is it does know which system you're in, and so
Right.
if you try and play a route when you're in the wrong system, I can't remember what it says, but it basically knows you're not in the right system. So interesting. Could a multi-waypoint? I don't know.
Could you do like a multi-waypoint thing where you're landing at different stations or at different settlements and make those the waypoints within the system, and then the last one that you land on, you do like a little SRV race around, something like that.
You could do. You almost don't need this sort of tracker for that kind of race. What you could certainly do, if you think about the installations like Sand 2 or something like that, you could absolutely use this to set waypoints around that installation, I think.
So another question that springs to mind is, and perhaps Colin can help with this one. So if you're on a biologicals hunt, for example, are biologicals always in the same place at the same location, or are they respawned? In other words, are biological signals persistent?
Yes.
Because the other thing that because I think
Go
that
on.
you could use this to find bacterial samples or biosamples. Just give people a point on a planet and go, there, done. And yes, I guess I'm trying to cheese the
Yeah, that's
exobiology.
interesting. You could use it to do a kind of road to riches for bioscanning, couldn't you? And you could have a whole load of waypoints, which are just where all the Yeah.
Oh, now that does actually annoy me a little bit because I can't stand the road to riches.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I find it kind of demeans the exploration rank because people have I'll just do road to riches. Yeah,
this obviously wasn't really created with that in mind, but
true.
But it does have all sorts of
Trust Shan, Trust Shan.
Dragging it down to your level.
I'm asking legitimate questions of its use, and I got to say, my mind's buzzing at the moment with things I could do with this utility, not just nefarious ones.
It's really easy to use. I mean, the little SRV tracker executable that you run, it's a very small, lightweight little program that you just download and run. It's quite sophisticated now. It sort of spots updates.
So the map of the base that you've got this little racetrack going round.
Yeah.
How is that formed? So because
right.
it'd be quite easy to have little.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
So that's what I was saying. That was done after the fact. So actually, the background of the race tracker is entirely grey. There's no image of the terrain, if you like. So it's entirely grey, and then it's got the SRVs you can see moving, and the circles and the dots and the lines. Yeah. And then what we did after the fact was take a video of this replay, and somebody did some clever sort of Photoshoppy skills and managed to put a screenshot on the background of it.
Right. So if you just see this in game, you'd see a grey background with the little circles on it.
Although I think now that we're figuring out how to stretch a screenshot so that the waypoints kind of line up, I think it would be. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this gets developed so that the race organizer can put together a screenshot to go with this before the day of the race, if you see what I mean.
It also, I'm just thinking of improvements. Also, since the Halloween theme, you ought to turn the SRVs into spiders, really.
Well,
and
they have
freak
got
out
8.
all the
Oh, no.
arachnophobes.
They've only got 6 legs, haven't they? They haven't got 8.
Yeah. I think there's
Ah.
ongoing development work at the moment to create more of a per racer profile so that you can actually have the icon match the color of your SRV paint job.
So the leading
God,
SRV with
that
the
is
yellow.
amazing.
Yeah.
God, there are so many super talented people who play Elite. We're so fortunate to
Yeah,
have this
it's
such a
astonishing.
great community that do all of this cool stuff to allow us to continue enjoying this. It's awesome. That's so cool.
So the
Yeah,
file is
Go on, Sean.
No, so the file it imports,
Mm-hmm.
presumably that can be mailed to someone or put up on a website for
You mean the
download.
root?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a small text file, and like I say, with the orienteering thing, that file was just dropped into Discord 15 minutes before the start of the race.
So
And
in
then
this part, because in this theoretical plants for riches course,
Oh,
Yes.
God, he's
Go
back
on.
for that again.
Go on then.
you could just download your course for each section of the plants for riches, and just follow it. So you could just download it into like a. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That's very
what I
cool.
don't know, I mean, it kind of relates to what Psykit was saying about whether a single course could span multiple systems. If it could, then you could have a single root file which was 1,000 plants. It'd be a lot of waypoints, but I don't see any reason you couldn't do it. Otherwise, what you'd have to do is you'd have to have a route for each planet. So it wouldn't be very interesting. You'd load a route and it would have the 3 biologicals for that planet.
On a more serious note,
It's
and
hardly
maybe
worth
this is
doing.
on a more serious note, and possibly a bit of a downside, and something I think about is, could this potentially be used by bots to do stuff?
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what.
Well, the bots aren't controlling the SRVs, Shan.
I've just thought of something like, is that the Frontier do their sort of top 20 issues preview once a fortnight or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there's that one at number 5 which is increased telemetry data for flight systems or seats or something, and then a lot of people have said, yeah, that's just people writing bots wanting more data out of Elite. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't generating any data that's not already available.
So it's just taking what's already there.
Yeah, it's only reading, I think it's called status.json, is a file that has these updates of SRV position. So it's only reading what's already there, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of a couple of things if I put my developer head on, but to tell you the truth, I don't want to. I just want to admire the fact that this gives us effectively racetracks, which I know that a lot of people have been dying for in the game.
You always see that, don't you, on the developer streams? Let us use the waypoints that are in the training in the game. Let us facilitate them in some way in the game. And this goes, yes, it's external, but yeah, it goes a really decent portion of the way into giving us those waypoints and examples. It's so clever. My mind is entirely blown, and I adore it.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. I should have said, actually, I'm sorry, Jan, but for if people are watching this and are really excited by the possibilities and want to try it, probably, I mean, maybe we'll probably put some links in the show notes, but if people just go to the forum and Google, search for SRV tracker,
yeah,
there's a forum thread that Crank created about this, and he sort of posts updates in there. Or if you join the Elite Racers Discord and just sort of message Crank, I'm sure he'd happy to talk about it.
This is easily the best user thing I've seen for ages. It's mesmerizing, isn't it? Watching this little spider.
It's blowing my mind. It's absolutely blowing my mind. I love it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And like I say, I mean, this race you could have almost have done without it, except that it was very useful for the race organizer to keep track of. Particularly, there are a few occasions where people are actually getting lapped, and so you start to lose track of who's in the lead. So it was brilliant for keeping track of that. It's also Black Maze used this in the early days, and the earlier series of SRV races when he was filming, because one of the problems is if you're in a ship, if you're in a camera ship, let me think how this works. The only SRVs that you can get any target on at all are the people in your wing. So if you want, if somebody sort of calls out and says, "Oh, I'm about to overtake so and so," there's no way for the cameraman to know where the hell you are, so we can fly over there and film it.
Gotcha.
And it's almost impossible to see an SRV even in the dark with the lights on. They're tiny when you're flying a camera ship and trying to cover a race. So one of the other things you can do with the SRV tracker, so the thing I was showing earlier, the little overlay that points you to the next waypoint,
Yeah.
as well as following a route, the other thing you can do is you can pick one of the other racers and target them, and it will then point you towards one of the races.
The other races.
So what the cameraman does, what the cameraman can do is just pick individual races and then go and fly over to them and see what they're up to.
Because conceivably then, unless I've got how this works wrong, conceivably, this is instance and time independent. Because as long as you've got the output of the tracker, you could then, in theory, merge it together. Or couldn't you do that? Because one of the issues with racing is getting people in the same instance and all things like that, isn't it?
Yes, okay, yes, I see what you mean. Yes, this does mean, we've certainly had occasions where, to be honest, instancing has been really pretty good these days. I think there's definitely been improvements, even in Horizons. But we've certainly had instances where maybe you can't see everybody else's SRV. And the SRV tracker sort of means that doesn't matter. We can still keep track of who's in the lead, even if you can't see them.
I've just had a genius idea.
Uh-oh. Go on. What's your genius idea?
Pac-Man. You could have a little Pac-Man after the SRVs. And then if it caught one, then it's out, and then that becomes the Pac-Man, etc.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think there's all sorts of possibilities, aren't there?
Would you, with regard to the talking about different instancing, once you save the file, can you save the file after you've raced that's recorded at the whole race that you've done?
Yeah, so I mean the way this was created is so this was running live while we were racing, so that anyone that just wanted to follow could see where people were.
Right.
To be honest, everyone that was racing was so busy racing. For example, I didn't watch this at all during the race because I was busy racing. But then afterwards, all that data is saved and you can replay it. So the only thing that's a slight issue at the moment is that the only place where you can replay a race to watch it like this is on the server, which is kind of down to Crank saying, I'm going to play the race at 3 o'clock if anyone wants to watch it. I think what he's trying to do is move support for that into the client so that you can basically replay a race whenever you fancy watching to see how badly you did. So we sort of cheated here. So what we did is we replayed it. You can see somebody's just recorded their window here.
Yeah.
So we just replayed it, recorded the window, and then we've got it in a video, and we can watch it whenever we like. But that's a bit of a low tech.
Could, for example, somebody you do like maybe 4 of these races encompassing different time zones. And then once they're all done, play them all together.
Oh my god!
Could you genuinely do that?
You could.
Oh my god, we can race with people on the other side of the planet at the same time.
That was where I was going. That was where I was going to say when I talk about instancing and time zones.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
amazing.
Obviously, each individual group. What I think I would do with that is each individual group would kind of know who'd won out of their group.
Right.
But what would be quite nice is to keep it all secret, and then have a grand replay where you bet on it like the Grand National or something.
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, I'll have to get in contact with Grant because we used to do stupid commentaries based on some of the things that truckers are up to. So we might be able to resurrect Pete O'Dull.
So Alec, another quick question. Sorry, Organist.
Yeah, go for it.
Can you change the waypoint location dynamically? So, for example, could you only have 2 waypoints on the map, and then when the first person reaches the second waypoint, it then adds a third, then the fourth, and
Interesting. Don't know. Not sure. Not probably not. Yeah, because the trouble is that the route, the list of waypoints, is literally a text file that you load into your own personal copy of the tracker. So what you'd want is some kind of ability to push out waypoints live from the server, I guess.
well, if they all came from the same Google Drive file, for example, then as soon as you got to the last waypoint, you click refresh, you would then reread the Google file, and then it would update it.
Yeah, interesting. What are you thinking of? Some sort of, or there were sort of musical chairs where you remove a waypoint every time a lap's completed. I don't know.
Yes, and the one left out gets blown up or something. Yes.
Oh, of course, there had to be some Hunger Games element right involved in this for Shan, hasn't there?
Incidentally, it's completely unrelated to the tracker, but this race that you're watching here, after it had finished, we did another version of this where we basically all lined up on the start line and then fired the SRV's guns until we were all wanted and then started the race. So we did another version of this race where we were all being attacked by missiles and skimmers and lasers, and the base was throwing everything it had at us while we were going round and round. And then the idea,
2000.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. And basically, the idea of that race was last man standing, but also that covered the most distance. I mean, it was really just for a funsy thing. We didn't really figure out the rules exactly, but it was awesome.
All of a sudden, I've got this image of Lave Radio wacky races. And we've got Shan Dastardly, according to Wintermute GP. And we've got, obviously, psykit as Penelope Pitstop.
Checks out. I'm down for it.
Does that make Ben one of the Anthill mob, then?
No, I think Ben's one of the
Or is he Muttley?
And another Lave Radio poll for you. Which wacky racer do you think relates to which crew member?
It's better than Teletubbies.
I can't find it now, but I actually have a wacky racers image of everyone in the Elite Racers group that's doing this race. But yeah, anyway.
Oh my goodness! Yes. Well, far from me for being Peter Perfect. I think we'll. I mean, this is obviously. How long has it actually taken to get it to this stage? Because you're saying that Black Mesa has been using this in the past, so it's obviously been.
Yeah, it's been under development. You know, off and on. I mean, it's just a little hobby, and then each time we have a new race season, people come up with ideas and go, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if it could do this and that?" And little features get added to it. So, probably more than 6 months. Probably started working on it. I don't know. We'd have to get Crank on the show to talk about it more, but.
I think we're going to have to get Crank involved in it. We're going to have to do. I think we're going to have to do a live Lave Radio race somewhere. What does everyone else think?
Yeah, we should.
and we've got 2 versions. We've obviously got the standard race and the live fire race. So I wonder who's going to.
I think if we can get it to the point where you can actually put without the physical map on the background. It's hard to visualize here, but it's just a bunch of SRVs going around a grey background. It adds so much more to have that screenshot behind it. So I think when we get it to that point, then I say we. When Crank gets it to that point, then yeah, let's do it.
Oh wow! So has anybody got any other questions, or has anybody in the chat room got any questions? Feel free to ask them. No? Okay. Well, I like that. I mean, fair play to yourselves and Crank and everybody else who's been involved in creating this. I mean, it is an astounding piece of third-party.
Yeah, it's why I wanted to come on. I just thought this really needs talking about because it's and highlighting because it's so awesome.
I mean, to be fair, we always look every week for a positive thing to put on the show rather than just grumping about stuff. And by far, this is the most positive thing I've seen in Elite for many, many months. it really does make your head spin the things you can do with it. So yeah, amazing tool.
Yeah. So we're definitely going to have to sort out a Lave Radio wacky race.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes. And I don't know. I think this is the kind of thing where we could even probably entice the old crew back just to have a full on Lave Radio.
Could this be? Sorry, Con.
Go on.
Could this be a LaveCon event? I wonder.
Do you know, as you were saying that, Shan, I was just picturing the racers in the LAN room racing and then projecting this on the big screen in the main room and people, I don't know, having bets on it or
having
Oh my
Lave
God.
credits spent on it, and on top of that, I think me and I'll have a word with Psycho Cow, and if we can put this together, we'll have to do live commentary on it as our Hutton Orbital alter egos, because this just looks LaveCon or bust is what Wintermute GB.
I have to say, speeding it up does make it a lot more action packed. In practice, it's quite slow, but but it doesn't really matter.
Oh, I'm quite sure we'll make it entertaining. We'll fill in the blanks. Don't worry.
But I will willingly play the elimination thing. So the one who hasn't got a chair at the end of it, I will gladly dispose of them.
No, I think I've already got ideas running through my head for events. We're going to have to do a one standard race and one where the base attacks you all the time, and it's the last man standing.
Sorry, Colin. I was going to suggest we do need to know if it works on foot though, because you could then have the Usain Bolt, Mo Farah kind of approach.
I will find out. Later in the week, I'll give it a go and see if it tracks on foot. I don't see why not. It all depends on what gets written to the status JSON file. If Elite's writing,
presumably, if it's the same format, it would be a matter of just pointing it to the different file.
Given that it works in ship and SRV, so it's basically it's really just writing to the file where you are, which direction you're facing, and what your coordinates are. So I don't see why it wouldn't do that for on foot.
Because what you could do is this thing. Sorry, on foot you could have limited oxygen, so you have to do it in a certain time, otherwise you snuff it.
There's always this element of death, isn't there?
There's got to be
Gotta have
danger.
jeopardy.
If there's not danger for Shan, he's out, man.
Oh no! If it's not danger for anybody else, Shan won't get put himself in danger. You got to remember that. Or running through the base and making sure you run through restricted sections. It's the Death Marathon 2000. You already can hear the twisted wheels of Shan's mind going through time and time and time again.
It still doesn't count as malarkey. It's shenanigans. It's not malarkey.
Well, yes, Commander Ventura says it is Elite dangerous. So, it's supposed to be dangerous.
It's funny you should mention shenanigans, because I don't know if you can see it on the screen. It's probably not there, but there is a checkbox. There's a lot of options and things that I haven't talked about. There's all sorts of obscure little options. And there is one somewhere, and I haven't even worked out what it does yet, which just says something like allow shenanigans.
That's my favourite checkbox of all time.
Well,
it's a shame you can't lay down booby traps, isn't it? You can't put down anti-personnel mines or something.
Go full Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking Death Race 2000 at the moment. Death Race, or is it 3307 Death Race? I don't know. Yeah. Well, Alec, like I said, that is absolutely astounding. And you know what? We're going to have to get in touch with you all and try and arrange something at least for LaveCon.
Let's do it.
That is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
Hang on, Colin, before you go. Wintermute TV and chat has said, I think you may need rules for new 2-player armed SRVs. Yes, can you imagine one person driving, the other person the gunner?
That I reckon that's a checkbox that's marked shenanigans.
Yeah, I'll be so excited to see if that's possible, if that's the way the two-seater SRV is going to work. I mean, how else can it work? Surely one person drives and one person shoots.
Well, we can only
That's
hope
not
so.
tomorrow's update, is it? That's not.
No,
that's update.
No.
That's at least
No.
update 9. I'm hoping it's update 9.
I was gonna say, because for a moment there, I thought for a moment we might be getting it, and I was like,
I know. Yeah,
nah,
I almost
it's
thought that
fine,
earlier.
it's fine. We'll wait.
We haven't yet seen. It's Arth, isn't it? Arthur that's working on a video of driving around in it. So
Maybe that might come out on the developer update. Who
You know
knows?
what? That might be something that they're trying to work on. Which
See, I
fingers
thought the
crossed.
second seat SRV was at a TBA date. I didn't think they'd nailed it down to update 9.
Well, it does seem that what they're doing is that they seem to be announcing thing. What's the pattern that's happened in the past is that they've said, right, this is definitely in the next update, and here's what's coming next, or here's what's coming soon. And what's happened so far is everything that seems to be coming soon comes in the next update, and then there's something new for the time after. And I'm hoping that they're sticking with that pattern. Yes, they have. It's true that they haven't said it's definitely coming in 9, but going by what they've done before, it would be nice if it came out in 9, just in time for Christmas.
Very cool.
Okay. Well, going back to the community corner, Commander Zorkmind, he has come up with a June Stellar tour. Now, this is obviously with the upcoming film Dune, and I do believe there's a link-in event over in the other No Man's Sky game, isn't there?
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, so good. Well, anyway, for fans of the film in June, Commander Zorkmind has posted a June Stellar tour using the book's descriptions for planet locations which match up in the Elite Galaxy. So he's obviously done quite a bit of work searching through to try and find where Caladan, Gendi Prime, Katin, and of course Arrakis could be. And he has gone and posted on the forum a link and invited people to tour the areas and just imagine what it would have been like if you were folding space instead of frame shifting it. Has anybody else seen that?
I haven't, but I am kind of wondering what locations relate to what planet, because things like Caladan, which I believe is almost like a water world.
It is, yes. Well, this is what he's worked out. That's the 3rd planet of Delta Pavanus. In game, it's an actual Earth-like at that location.
Okay, so and for the sandworms, you click on the link and they get taken to Star Citizen. Do you for the worms?
Actually, the sandworms are already in No Man's Sky. Because basically I was wandering around on a planet, and one of the planets there, and it started shaking, and the next thing I knew, this massive worm creature just went over my head and then buried it over, carried burying off through into the ground. And I must admit, if you are in VR when that happens and you weren't expecting it, it is quite frightening.
That's actually
Imagine, holy crap! It was scary when I wasn't in VR.
that's actually quite an achievement by Commander Zorkmid to match those locations.
Yeah.
And just segueing back to the SRV thing, you could conceivably create a Dune Stellar tour using that utility. So you download the Dune Stellar tour.
Yeah, but you'd have to do a Dune Stellar tour for each system. If I remember what Alec has already told us, these maps only work for one planet or one location.
We'd just name the file, wouldn't you? Like file number 1, Caladan. Number 2, Arachid. Number 3, Geddy Prime, etc.
Yeah, you could have a little tour on each of them. Yeah, Gendy Prime for House Harkonnen, they've mapped to the third planet of 36, Opanchi B. But in game there's a non-atmospheric planet at that location. I mean, I could go through the whole list, but he has gone and mapped the actual position where these places are, but the positions of the star systems. But obviously, there's no matching planet there apart from Delta Pavenus, which is Caladan.
Wouldn't the Harkonnen planet be where you lot dumped the most bio waste ever made, which of course was you dumped it at Vesper M4?
Bio waste ever made?
You lot, yeah, because I remember many years ago you dumped a whole load of bio waste on the Hammers of Slough at Vesper M4.
Yes. Less said about that, the better. But let's just say it's revenge for the Hammers of Slough dropping so many radioactive contaminants in the Lave system. Not that that's a long time ago now. I doubt if the Hammers of Slough even remember it.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
The radiation poisoning, it affects the memory, you see.
They never forget, apparently. They always hold a grudge.
Ah, dear. Right, moving on from there. Psykit, have you had any smut headed your way?
Have I? No, I haven't. I haven't received any smut. It's a shame. It's a shame we've got no malarkey here today.
I know this is the problem. An ample opportunity for malarkey, and it's just passed by. Well, we'll hopefully that we'll get something that you'll be pleased to read out in the future. Does anybody have any other business that they would like to bring up and discuss at the moment?
I just have 2 very quick updates from Crank, who I was chatting to in Discord. The tracker, I forgot, the tracker doesn't work in space because what it's tracking is planetary coordinates. So although you can use it for ship racing around canyons, for example, you couldn't use it for something like Sand 2 currently because there's no coordinates.
Gotcha.
The other thing is that the idea of a multi-system race, it doesn't currently work, but no reason why it couldn't be extended to do that.
Lovely. I mean that is one of the that is one of the problems that we do want, is because after seeing the training base with all the rings in it, you were there thinking, just copy that training base and stick it somewhere so we can race round it. And it seems to have fallen on deaf ears. But but this sounds like a planet. A planet-based ship race or a planet-based SRV race.
Anything
fantastic.
planet-based, because like I say, but it's tracking coordinates, and I think you've got altitude. But the minute you get outside of that orbital cruise zone where you've got no coordinate, then it's useless.
Gotcha. Right. Any other business? Well, it doesn't seem to be much happening at the moment.
I have a thing.
Okay then. Go on.
I have a thing.
Go on, Psykit.
I'm doing a thing on Halloween. It's not Elite related, but it's featuring Elite Dangerous Commanders. I'm venturing into the world of streaming Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm not nervous about it at all. It's not like the greatest love that I absolutely adore.
Right.
But we're doing a bit of a Halloween themed spoopy one shot on Halloween, 3 p.m. The clocks go back this weekend, so 3 p.m. UTC. It's got I'm DMing, and then we have Katie Chaos, Brother Sabathius, Crispy Tater Tot, and Mal for the Win, all playing characters and doing it's called the Haunt, and it's going to be very fun, I hope. but I'm incredibly nervous and I'm really looking forward to it. Two very, very extreme emotions about it.
Oh, you'll be fine. It's sort of you'll get a bit nervous about the first 5 minutes, thinking, "Do I look an absolute idiot on on stream?" But then after that, the game takes over, and you'll be fine. Don't
I
worry
love
about it.
Dungeons and Dragons. It's so good. It's so much fun. But if you like Dungeons and Dragons, or you want to come and watch me try and scare my friends, please by all means drop along.
I'm half tempted around then to actually try a first time live streaming Alien Isolation in VR.
Oh,
it will probably kill me. I'm tempted, but I might.
Can you live stream that so you can watch it kill you?
Have you played it before at all?
I've played a little bit, and to tell you the truth, for some reason,
so good.
It might be so good, but as someone who grew up with that films, yes, Colin the Heart, yeah, not much chance of it surviving, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, me and Chris Jarvis used to discuss this, and when I told them that you could actually play Alien Isolation in VR, it was no way, never. You'll never get me doing that. It's right. We've actually had some feedback, ladies and gentlemen. We've had, yes, Vas3303 has replied to stuff on YouTube. He said the phrase "it's a game." I've used that phrase myself without thinking about it, but to many commanders, it's definitely not. To our long-suffering partners, it's just an effing game. But to any player who's ploughed hundreds or even thousands of hours into this game, it is so much more. It's what we rush home to from college, school, or work just to play. It's making new friendships, building up people's confidence who haven't been very good at socializing, and it's helping getting people through rough patches. It's being able to give up your job and becoming a full-time creator. It's that massive adrenaline rush that when you make your first PvP kill. To every commander, this game means something, and to all of us commanders out there, I'm pretty sure it's not just a game. 07. I think that was to you, Psykit, because you just
and
said
I've read it. I've read it, and I think that is selling. It's not selling Elite Dangerous short, because I completely agree. It's an excellent tool for meeting other people and all of that. However, it's still a game. It is you yourself as the person who is playing the game, who is meeting these people, who is making those relationships. It is selling yourself short by saying it's the game that's done all of that. Maybe you need to look introspectively and go, actually, no, I am worthy of being able to create these relationships and stuff. Yes, Elite Dangerous means a hell of a lot to me. It means a hell of a lot to me. It means a hell of a lot to a lot of people. I'm not negating that. I just still will say it's still just a game. There could have been another game that has come along that has done the exact same thing for a lot of other people. I met my very, very best friend in the whole wide world playing Counter-Strike. And I've met loads of wonderful people playing Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is still just a game. It's what I made of it, which means that it's so important. And now this is a hill that I'm going to die on.
I think I can maybe summarize the "it's just a game" comment is actually it's an enabler for people to build a community.
Absolutely.
And what we find is that there are enablers all over the place. Be it trains, be it cars, be it makes of cat, or whatever it is. They are enablers that allow people to form communities, because when it comes down to it, that's what we as people do. We form communities from people with common interests. And gaming is an enabler to that, amongst so many others.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's something I would agree with. To some people, it's more than a game because effectively it's allowed them to do things that they haven't been able to in their. I hate to say the world, use finger quotes here, their real life, but they're finding that they've been able to do things in the game which they never would have expected to, and have been able to meet people and have a commonality with people that in the real world outside of the game they haven't been able to.
That's great and everything. It really is great. And I'm so happy that a game can do that for people. I'm so happy that a game can do that for people and can make those contacts happen, enable you to have those contacts. But in its essence, you're going back to play this game because you want to play a game rather than and spend time with your friends and all of that. And it's giving you that opportunity to.
Yeah. Also, we have a little bit of feedback on Facebook. Apparently, we've had somebody tell us off for bad grammar because we used 3 forum dads and a girl with an apostrophe with the dads.
You didn't.
We did.
Oh my God.
Blame Ben, and the grammar people hit him with the grammar Nazi stick, I think is the best way to say it.
I think Ben would prefer it if we just left him alone today, poor person, because he's coming for enough stick this episode, because he's been sitting there squirming on his chair at every single opportunity for malarkey that we've passed over. So I think we should be merciful to him.
I don't think there's been that many opportunities.
No. Never been able to slip one in before, have we?
Nah, normally we just leave it wide open. It's like a gaping hole.
Yes, and
moving swiftly on.
No, yeah,
We've done so well.
Yeah, we're not filling that hole. Let's move on. Well, we'll start with some shout-outs. Obviously, Dockers, they're doing their charity Christmas special. If you want to go to www.justgiving.com/team/beyond-dockers, it's scary. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv/Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander who likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. And can I just point out that I think one of the guys from the Loose Screws podcast, he has just hit CQC Elite.
Wow.
I know. And apparently, CQC Elite is a little bit different because in order to hit CQC Elite, you've got to score something like 4 million credits in CQC. But Deadly...
Then you also have to sacrifice your firstborn. I thought that was a...
No, by the time you've hit CQC Elite, your firstborn has grown up, had children, and given you grandchildren.
Sorry, it's your first grandchild, my bad.
Yeah, but the thing is, the previous rank is 1.5 million credits. So it's the only elite rank I know which the big rank to get is actually it's more than double what you normally have to achieve.
Actually, it's 20 million credits to hit the top rank.
Is it? Oh, right.
Yes, because they've gone for this stupid Elite 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So to hit the top rank in CQC, you now need to do it 5 times.
I don't know whether they've put that actually in for CQC.
You think they've turned down the chance to make it even grindier?
No, because I think they just forgot about it.
Well, if someone can get Elite CQC twice for us on the same account and let us know,
Oh,
be
that
really appreciated.
Musketeer's already done that. The Commander Musketeer is an absolute legend in the CQC community, and trust me, you will not. I would love to actually see how long you last against him, Shan. He would basically splat you against the wall within seconds. It's unbelievable how good that guy is. Yes. Anyway, moving on. We'll give the shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts. So there's Allograb AM, there's Black Sky Legion, who do space sims as well as real life science and tech. The Canon podcast, the Spanish speakers had the Elite Cast. There's the Fatherhood podcast, Flight Assist. Of course, who was on this week, Flight Assist?
We didn't have an episode this week because of tomfoolery for the Win household, but we do have episode 50 coming out next week.
Okay. 50?
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
It's a good one as well. I'm very looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Size 50.
Oh, give it another 14 years. Oh, that was less years than I was hoping to say.
Yeah, well, I'm dead on that. Thanks for that.
So basically, in a few years' time, then it's 3 forum dads and a granny.
What?
I'm keeping out of this.
Yeah, same here. I think Shan has just decided that he's going to try and mine through to China, and we're just letting him. There's also the Guard Frequency and, of course, Loose Screws. Good luck, guys. You've got the exclusive. Well done. We also have New Worlds Zero Prep with... well, I don't think it will be actually on this week because obviously Ben's away, but Kai and Sue might talk about something this week. We also have Squeaky Fuel and, of course, System Chat. Now, for all those that also want a literary discussion about sci-fi and fantasy books, then please subscribe to the Data Slate podcast, who've been created by Station Commander Alan Stroud. Now, as we've said before, following this, we have our latest Galnet News Digest, as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beefitude, and we'd like to thank everybody who has chipped in the Twitch chat. I'm having fun getting that around that tongue twister. And thanks to any in-game commanders that have buzzed the Chris Mark for. And of course, special thanks to Commander Tokuso, who created the music for the introduction of this show. And also an incredible special mention for Commander JN Trax for dubstep store alerts. But that is it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, then you can email info@laveradio.com. Hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at Lave Radio. You can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. And we also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat, which you can find at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Do get in touch if you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out on laveradio.com/live. So thanks to Alex, thanks to psykit, and of course thanks to Commander Shan. And special thanks goes to today's tech specialist, Commander Ventura, with the help from the Chris Mark IV. Until next time, commanders, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted into them. You need a safe word for space can be doing. I'm gonna see the galaxy.
And this screws do a
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
What it was I frequent several electric car Facebook groups, and there was a post by one of the members.
Galnet News Digest, 26th of October 3307. We read the news so you don't have to.
In this week's news, the ghost ship 1 year on.
Alliance meets with Marlinists over refugee crisis.
Dilemma for Nova Duval.
By Apex to Colonia. A year ago, on the 29th of October 3306, a ghost ship was intercepted by the Alliance Salvage Guild near Planet 5b in the Chukchan system. This was the 200-year-old megaship Adamastor. Since then, we've discovered a fair bit about Azimuth Biochemicals, the original owners of the ship. The Adamastor was part of a small fleet of megaships that were searching for alien technology to use to create weapons more powerful than anything previously known. The search, as far as we know at present, was not successful, though Azimuth came very close on a number of occasions. They tried to salvage something from a planet in Muscadark region PJ-P B6-1 that may have been of Thargoid origin. But not only was the Adamastor taken over by mercenaries working for the rival company Pharma Sapien, the crew was subsequently driven mad by whatever their cargo was. The Adamastor returned home on autopilot and at sublight speed. There were no known survivors. A small crew of scientists managed to escape from the Adamastor's sister ship, the Hesperus, in an anaconda named Proteus, when it too was captured by mercenaries. They found what they were looking for, the only example of a Thargoid Guardian battlefield, containing technology suitable to be turned into weaponry. They managed to create such a weapon using a Guardian crystal, but it misfired, killing all members of the crew. Their discovery of this new weapon was lost, until a mysterious figure by the name of Salvation started taking an interest in April this year. Having discovered the site, and having made a successful appeal for Guardian technology similar to that used in the weapon, he appears to have constructed some sort of Thargoid-killing superweapon, and to have tested it out after he correctly predicted that Thargoids would invade the Cornsar system 2 days before they did. It's hard to avoid the conclusion that Salvation has completed the work of Azimuth. We must hope that he's not a member of Azimuth's staff, and that his intentions are more noble than those of Azimuth.
And we have recent evidence that Azimuth has remained active until comparatively recently. Following the unlocking in August of Hyford's cache in Colonia, it's been discovered that Azimuth scientists were attempting to create a human-Thargoid hybrid, making a human mind-control a Thargoid scout ship, as little as 4 years ago. Azimuth was also complicit in covering up the return of Thargoids to the Pleiades, along with a covert military operation known as Black Flight. The attempt was unsuccessful, but if Azimuth was active in 3303, it probably still is active now. Slightly worryingly, the religious fringe group known as the Far God Cult has recently headed off into Thargoid space, in the California Nebula and the Witcher Nebula, intending variously to become sacrifices to the Far God, which is in reality the Thargoids, or to become one with the Thargoids as angels, something that sounds horribly similar to Azimuth's attempts to have humans become incorporated as part of captured Thargoid ships.
More than 1 million refugees from the Empire are still living in Alliance space since they escaped there in December 3306. Now, the Marlinist Consulate hopes to rescue these refugees. The estimated 1 million refugees were not included in the Syria-sponsored resettlement programme for Marlinist refugees who escaped imperial oppression by fleeing to federal border systems. The refugees are not universally welcomed within Alliance space, with some considering them more illegal immigrants than victims of a tyrannical political system. A minority of Alliance systems have, however, granted citizenship to their refugees. Recently, the Alliance has reportedly been coming under imperial pressure to return the refugees to the Empire for interrogation and re-education, and it is as a result of this pressure that Marlinist consul Kayode Tau approached Alliance Ambassador Elijah Beck to see if transportation could be arranged for Marlinists and other imperial political refugees to the democratic Marlinist colonies in the Hyades sector. The Imperial Diplomatic Corps refused Beck's invitation to be part of the discussion. Nonetheless, discussions are believed to be at an advanced stage.
In other news this week, the Imperial Senate has offered to protect Imperator Hadrian Duval from neo-Marlinist terrorists, but only if he renounces his faction Nova Imperium. This is likely to be a tough call for Hadrian, whose partner, Lady Astrid, is expecting their first child in December. There have been 2 recent attempts on his life, but Nova Imperium largely defines who he is. He is Nova first, Duval second.
Federal agents claim to have crushed a Jupiter Division-inspired uprising by the so-called Jupiter's Wrath, with at least 1,000 armed pro-corporation extremists and their leaders arrested.
And Zemina Torval's appeal for equipment to kickstart Torval mining has been well supported. Long-range, fully engineered mining lasers have been offered as rewards and will also be available to buy from technology brokers aboard Torval mining megaships in the coming weeks. A 40% discount on all mining equipment will also be offered by Torval.
With the Colonia Bridge project due to deploy 35 megaships by the end of the week, some enterprising commanders are attempting to calculate whether they will be able to use Apex shuttles to travel all the way to Colonia without the need for a fleet carrier or a ship. As the megaships will have social areas, the idea is that commanders might be able to take an Apex shuttle the roughly 250 light-year distance to a planet midway between adjacent carriers in the chain, and then call an Apex shuttle from the next megaship to collect them. Repeating this process 35 times might just possibly get an on-foot commander all the way from the bubble to Colonia. Whether it's actually possible remains to be seen, but if it is, the Buckyball Racing Club will no doubt make it into a race. They always do.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news, so you don't have to.
Store alert!
Lave Radio Muppet of the Week.
Hello.
I need a new computer.
Your family's Egyptian now?